Operate.
Yeah.
Two-factor grass is growing.
Well, that's good.
The rains have got 3 days now. Natural rain. I don't want the rain.
Yeah, it's way different. Way different from getting that.
One, like, natural rain is like, the next day the grass. Like, right to rain fall.
Yeah, when we had the heat, I was working around the clock. Like, it was all brought up. And once the rain last week, the whole thing redone.
Natural rain, I don't know what it does, I just it brings it.
Some kind of
Chemicals
tracer minerals or
out
something
of the air.
out of the air. So that's
Yeah. Same.
Oh, thank you. Jason Keith, nobody should show up. Did it there or does it go ahead?
It was. It's all his own purchase, yeah, yes. So, yeah,
You can stay there or go here.
doesn't matter, he's not gonna participate, so
Okay.
it's just semantics at that. It's staying, but you know, Bill done? I'll call the meeting to order with the vice salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. This meeting was advertised pursuant to the New Jersey Open Meetings Act. Notices were sent to official publications of the Egg Harbor City Municipal Land Use Board, the Press of Atlantic City, and the Hamilton Gazette. A copy of the notice was posted on the board of the Egg Harbor City Municipal Building. I now ask the secretary to put that into the minutes. And then roll call them.
Mr. Garth,
Here.
Mrs. Torres. Here. Mr. Molyneux,
Here.
Mr. Frick,
Here.
Mr. Peterson.
Here.
Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mr. Hess.
here.
All right, can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes for June 16th?
Show moved.
Second. Opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Also approval on the resolution. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Don?
Mr. Garth,
Yeah.
Mrs. Torres. Yes. Mr. Molyneux,
Yes,
Mr. Frick,
I have a question. I wasn't here at the last meeting.
So, MC.
so.
Well, that was my question. This property address, 10 Wayhurst Pike, I believe the purchaser bought it through my company last year, so I know that's a conflict of interest.
That is.
So I probably, okay.
It was good that you weren't here.
Okay.
It works out.
So then I'm staying.
So they're back, so, yeah. So you, well, so Jordan, yeah, I'm carrying it. So it's-
Yeah.
so-
There you go, Barry. Very
Well,
nice.
George isn't here anyway.
No, I know, but they're back. Teddy T.
For tonight's purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, Gary.
so now Gary has.
Yeah, Gary has to,
Voting. Yeah,
See
sure.
that? Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Works out, see how that works out?
Okay, Mr. Peterson. Mike McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and Mr. Hess.
Yes.
All right, moving on, we go to old business. It's a continuation of the application for 1018 Whitehorse Pike. For a variance relief. This is your conflict?
Should I sit down?
Yeah, so for the record, Mr. Frick will be stepping down and refusing. So. Hi, Tom.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Wilson Hamilton, the applicant. I'm also here in the capacity as a professional planner to provide expert testimony on the positive and negative criteria for the D1.
Okay, do you want Tom to be sworn in? For the purposes of his planning testimony, yes. But we do recognize that Tom is an attorney at law in the state of New Jersey, but we will swear you in for your planning purposes. Sir, do you solemnly swear, affirm that testimony you're about to provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So,
Yes, I do. Thank you. And the applicant, Perez is here.
Rob, you want to come up? And do you solemnly swear testimony you're about to provide this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Perez, would you state your name and address for the record?
Little Perez, 605 West Franklin Street, Culver City, New Jersey, 08215.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, am I correct that you still have 7 voting members?
Yes.
Going to recuse themselves later on?
Yes, we're good.
Because this is a D variance, and as you know, we need 5 affirmative votes in order to grant. This is a continuation of a public hearing for preliminary and final site plan approval that the board entertained at the last meeting. We had a 2-part application there. One was for the tattoo parlor on the lower floor of the building, which is a permitted use in the HC zoning district. The second part of our application was for a second floor, 1-bedroom residential apartment. And because a residential use on the second floor of a commercial building in an HC zone is not a enumerated specific permitted use, we have to seek a D1 variance. And at the last meeting, we didn't have a full complement of the board, so we asked the board to continue the hearing. So, and now we have a full complement of the board for each variance. Just to refresh the board's memory, this property is located in Boston Avenue, White Horse Pike, and 10 Terrace. There's an existing commercial building on the property. It's known as 1018 White Horse Pike. The lower floor is the board is granting preliminary and final site plan approval for a tattoo parlor on the first floor. What we are proposing this evening, we're seeking an approval from the board for a D1 variance to allow the second floor to contain a 1-bedroom residential apartment, which is not a permitted use in the zone. Oddly enough, residential uses are permitted in the second floor of the commercial building, but the ordinance says that it has to be a senior citizen. And Rob does not want to limit the apartment to a senior citizen only. And it's on the second floor also, which they can, senior citizens like to be on one floor. So we're here seeking that variance from there. Under the use variance criteria, we have to demonstrate the positive and negative criteria to you. The positive criteria, if we can demonstrate that the purposes of the municipal land use law will be advanced by the approval, then that can support the grant of the variance. And typically, the purposes of the municipal land use law are what we look to demonstrate those special reasons. So under NJSA 40:55D-2A, that's the promotion of the general welfare. And what that means is the site particularly suited for the proposed use? And in my opinion, it is for the following reason. The lot is oversized in the HC zoning district that requires 15,000 square feet. This lot is 24,000 feet. So there is an excess of 9,000 square feet of lot area. Also, the lot is oversized with respect to frontages. The minimum frontage requirement in the zone is 100 feet. We have 160 feet on Boston Avenue and Terrace and 150 feet on the White Horse Pike. So this is a big lot. It's oversized. Just as an example, in your R6 and R9 zoning districts, single-family dwellings are allowed on 6,000 square foot lots and 9,000 square foot lots, respectively. So the addition of a 1-bedroom residential apartment here, with the excess of lot area that we had at 9,000 square feet, in my opinion, makes this lot particularly suited for that proposed use. Also, this apartment will be in walking distance to the your downtown Philadelphia area. It's only a block or two away. So and someone living in the apartment would have access to the restaurants, the shops, the taverns, the stores in the downtown neighborhood. So in my opinion, that also contributes to this being particularly suited. The other aspect of the property is the reason why the apartments in the RC zoning district were limited to senior citizens. And Ryan points this out in his report, is because typically along Philadelphia Avenue, there's no area for recreation at all. The buildings are right side by side, the apartments are upstairs. There's really no area for, the children to have a little play area. This lot's a little bit different because it is oversized. The buildings here, we're proposing a new parking lot here. There's going to be a drainage facility here. So right on this side of the building here, there'd be enough area for, a set of swings or a little play area for kids. So in this particular instance, that recreational aspect, we can satisfy that. So in my opinion, under that section 2A, this again, areas would promote the general welfare. NJSA 40:55D2B is the promotion of public safety. In this particular case, having someone live full-time on the second floor there is going to provide an automatic security facility there for the downstairs. It discourage vandalism, break-ins, and things of that nature. So in my opinion, this also promotes public safety. Under NJSA 40:55D2C, that's provide adequate light, air, and open space. In this particular instance, the second floor already exists. There's no need to expand the footprint of the building other than an exterior staircase. And the existing building coverage is only 6%, where 30% is allowed by your code. So the building coverage is way less than what would be permitted. Under section 55D2E, that's promoting an appropriate population density. It's interesting that, this property, all properties in Egg Harbor City are in the Pinelands. So, and in the certificate of filing, Pinelands usually designate whether or not the proposed use is consistent or inconsistent. If it's consistent and meets with their standards, they issue a certificate of filing with no adverse conditions on it. If for some reason there is an inconsistency, they will stamp the certificate of filing inconsistent, and they'll tell you why. In our particular case, the certificate of filing says that the proposed uses, both the tattoo parlor and the single family residence upstairs, the apartment, are consistent. And the reason why Pinelands designated that way is because the underlying zoning district of Egg Harbor City is a Pinelands town. The whole city is it's an underlay, I would call it. And in a Pinelands town, for example, under NJAC, this is the Pinelands Comprehensive Management Plan 7:50-513F3II. It says that Pinelands town districts are appropriate for infill residential development. And in my opinion, that's exactly what this is. The building is there, the lot is already there, and we're going to fill in that empty space up in the second floor with a residential use, which in a Pinelands town is permitted. Under 55D2G, that's to provide for a variety of residential and commercial development, which we're doing with accommodation, commercial on the first floor, residential on the second floor, according to the respective environmental conditions. In this particular case, we have city water and city sewer, so the infrastructure is already there. Finance did not identify any environmental condition which would cause a limitation on the use of the property. There's no wetlands buffers, no threat of endangered species, no bats, nothing like that. So in my opinion, we satisfy that purpose of the municipal lands also. And finally, under section 2I, that's promotion of a desirable environment. When the board is entertaining a variance, the entire development should be looked at to make the determination. And in this particular case, the applicant is going to put in 2 new driveways, is going to put in handicap space, is going to provide drainage facility to control drainage in that area. And he's already done enhancements to the building itself. So in my opinion, all that, the the site plan that contributes to the promotion of a desirable visual environment. There's ample room on the site for parking. They'll provide one space for the, or even two for the one-bedroom apartment. By code, we're supposed to have 12 spaces and we'll provide 13. So there's plenty of room on the site for this additional use of the residential zone. So in my opinion, all those purposes of the municipal land use law satisfy the positive criteria for the board to grant the T1 variance. We also have a burden of proof to demonstrate that the granting variance will not be a substantial detriment to the public good. And what that means is, will the granting of the variance to allow a second floor apartment substantially alter the character of the neighborhood in a negative way? And in my opinion, it will not. It's a one-bedroom apartment. You might get two people, maybe two people and a young child in it. There are other residents in that particular area in the highway commercial zone. So a small residential use like this it is not going to adversely affect the character of the neighborhood. And the second part of the negative criteria is no substantial detriment to the master plan and zoning ordinance. One of the purposes of the of the master plan, as I mentioned previously, is to provide infill development. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking a valuable space that exists above permitted use and utilize it rather than have it lay dormant and be unused. And the applicant is also taking 3 non-conforming lots and he is combining them into one large conforming parcel. So in my opinion, that promotes the master plan and the zoning ordinance. And in my opinion, I think that there is a need for a one-bedroom apartment like this in the city. I went on to Zillow and looked around a little bit. There aren't a whole lot of one-bedroom apartments that are available. A lot of apartments available, but they're 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, very expensive. And we all know that housing is a very difficult topic these days for young people who want to enter into the housing market. So I think that this one-bedroom apartment will give the opportunity to provide some residential space within the city, and it will benefit the commercial district along Philadelphia Avenue. So for all those reasons, I think that we can satisfy the positive and negative criteria. I encourage the board to grant the D1 variance that will allow the one-bedrooms apartment on the second floor. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Would the applicant like to say anything?
Happy to answer any question they would ask.
Maybe you'll swear him in.
He was sworn, he was previously sworn.
Any questions from the board? Well, we got to hear from Ryan, so why don't we hear from Ryan first and then we'll do questions at the end.
Sure. So I think Tom did a really good job of outlining the application. As he talked about, we went through the site plan and gave him approval on the site plan already. This was just the final outstanding question. In my letter on pages 4 and 5, I sort of go through the various sections of the ordinance that speak to housing above commercial. In fact, there's a commercial development section that just sort of vaguely says, it's encouraging mixed use structures with commercial retail uses on ground floors and apartment dwellings or offices on upper levels. Unfortunately for them, that's not part of the zoning ordinance, so it's not permitted by ordinance, but clearly the ordinance speaks to that as a possibility and something that's really encouraged, frankly. The one concern that I did bring up, Tom also referenced, was the potential recreation space. For this, having clarified that it's a 1-bedroom, that's a lot less of a concern than if it was 2 or 3 bedrooms, where you're expecting multiple kids potentially. So for a 1-bedroom apartment, maybe one at most, but typically there's not a lot of kids in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I think that's less of a concern than it may have been otherwise if it was a 2 or 3 bed. Yeah, otherwise, you gave us numerous reasons through the positive criteria, which are listed on page 6, and then went through the negative criteria. So it comes down to the board members' thoughts and opinions on whether it conforms with the master plan and is a reasonable variance to be granted.
Any question from the board? Very good. Is there any comments on this from the public?
And then at Galloway, 349 Buffalo Avenue, is a good member city.
Councilmember, just go ahead, swear it in. Do you solemnly swear to testify, that the testimony you're about to provide today will be a true, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just had one question about the apartment. Is it going to be owner occupied or is it going to be rented out?
Owner occupied, rented out.
It's going to be rented out, okay. Hope you don't have those high rents. That makes sense. As far as this application goes, I really have no problems with it. I actually like it. It's a good one. I just wanted to double back on the last meeting and confirm and get confirmation from you and your applicant about the replacement trees that were required by our ordinance. I believe your developmental ordinance said 8 trees will be planted. That's both for the parking area and so forth. There is, I think, 8 trees on the property. They're gonna have to come down. I looked at them myself and they were rapid. One's broken, and another one's leaning over. This storm could take it out tonight, you know. So those trees are not required to be replaced by the ordinance. But the 6 remaining trees are required to be replaced. So I just wanted to confirm that those 6 would be added to the 8 for that property.
Yeah, we're gonna comply with code and we're gonna comply with Ryan's report. Also, there's an application we have to make to the city to have their arborist. Is that been regulated? Announce that?
He's already reviewed it and approved the removal of those trees. As far as conversation we had. right?
Yes, we just need the application filled out and the fees and then.
It's $25 application fee plus $150 for his review.
So we will comply with that as well.
And just so the board knows, those fees go into the trust fund so that we can take care of trees in the future. So it's good, good. Be good. Put the good to use.
Good purpose.
And if you need the ordinance, I have a copy of it here if you'd like it. And I have another one if you need it. That's it, thank you.
All right, again, any questions from the board? All right, I guess at this time is when I ask for a motion.
Make a motion that Ryan frame the wording.
Yeah, it would really just be a motion to approve a D1 use variance to allow
Motion to approve that.
1-bedroom apartment.
Second,
I'll second it.
and as we previously indicated, this is a D1 variance. It will require 5 affirmative votes. Okay,
Who's second?
Gary,
Oh, who's first?
John.
I made a motion.
Thank you. Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Garth,
Yes.
Mrs. Torres. Yes. Mr. Molyneux,
Yes.
Mr. Frick, oops, sorry, got that one. Mr. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
the Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, board members. Thank you, professionals.
Yes.
Well,
Good luck.
Good luck. Okay, moving on to new business. We have an application, DNB, White Horse Pike LLC. You guys want to step forward and be sworn in and?
That was-
Andy.
I don't know how I got it.
I'll set them up. Oh, easy. I'll give you.
And here you go. Yeah.
As you.
I didn't have one. I didn't have the 25.
I'll remember that for next time.
This is application for LUB DNB White Pike LLC. 6 White Horse Pike, lot 526, lot 11.01. Council, your appearance.
Good morning, evening members of the board. My name is Chris Valentin. I represent LUB DNB White Horse Pike LLC with respect to its application for lot 11.01 and block 526, 6 White Horse Pike. we were here a couple months ago and presented an application for a use variance for a traffic safety truck and equipment storage yard for a company called Northwest Traffic Service Solutions. Northwest Traffic Service Solutions is a Mid-Atlantic company that provides exactly what it sounds like. They provide traffic safety setups for construction sites on highways. They do it for the state of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New York. They have chosen a site owned by LUV, Mark's here, owned by LUV in Egg Harbor City. That is ideal for their location due to its proximity to the highway network. They intend to use the existing site to store their trucks and go to job sites from here. The existing building on the site, which previously I think a used car lot, and maybe a service station, is ideal for the indoor storage equipment storage, and the trucks can be on site and taken from there to go to various jobs. There will be equipment trucks on site, and there will be utility vans on site. The utility vans take men and women to jobs. They come back every day. Utility trucks, when they take equipment to a site, they take it to the site, that truck stays there for the length of the job. Okay. It's anticipated that there at most will be 35 trucks if business is really banging, 25 to 30 employees. It's a set schedule. There's 2 shifts and that's all. I know there's some question about nighttime use. They leave the lot at 7, they come back at 5. If there is a job that requires nighttime, they leave at 7, they come back at 5. So there's 2 motions throughout the site with men and women leaving and coming back. It's at 7 in the morning, 5 at night, 5 at night, 7 in the morning. There is no random back and forth traffic on and off site with employees coming and going as they please. It's a fairly regimented process. The site is unmanned, meaning there's an office there, but it's not occupied other than if the guys need to make some copies or make some calls or something like that. For the most part, it will be a fairly quiet site day and night. The request is for a use variance for 2 reasons, because that type of use is not permitted in the highway commercial zone, and there is also an existing use on site which has been up for years. It's a permitted use. And since there are two uses on the site, that requires a D variance or a use variance for 2 uses on one site, the D variance for the use that we're proposing. When we were here last, the board thought it best and asked us, hey, God, show us the plan, show us the plan of the site, how it works, how it's gonna operate. We've since done that, and Schaefer's prepared the plan, that's been submitted. Our request, Ryan, I believe it's still a waiver of the site plan, based on the plan we've submitted, so you guys know exactly what's going on. And the plan, should we receive approval, the site will be operated as shown on the plan. Even if you grant a site plan, site plan waiver. Because the site's not really changing, it's been cleaned up, and these guys have spent 6 or 7 times on site improvements than they have on buying the property. It's been like 300 grand plus, because it was environmental cleanup, it's been taken care of. It was oil contamination in the soil, groundwater.
Tires.
And tires and service stuff, that all had to be removed. DEP was involved, with the DEP has issued an approval, we're just waiting for the correction letter. And that was fairly significant undertaking. All the while, the property's been on the market for a tenant. In October will be 2 years. In all those 2 years, there will be 2 increases, aside from Northwest Traffic, 2. One, a used car dealer who decided that there's too much competition, they bailed out, and the other was a strip mall. 2 years. The site has been listed on multiple commercial real estate platforms. Mark is a commercial real estate agent, he's a licensed agent, a commercial real estate brokerage. They have been actively marketing the property for the tenant and are happy to have received interest from Northwest Traffic. With that, I'm going to have Andy's going to testify. Andy Schaefer's a planner and engineer. He can testify with respect to the site, what's proposed, and some of the various justification.
Why don't we swear in both Mr. Schaefer and Mark, your last name? Hadlet, okay.
And net.
Net.
Spell it for me, please.
HADNETT.
Adnet.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks.
And Mark, you're a principal with the company.
Yes.
okay. Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you're about to provide today will be a truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
They say,
Okay.
Maybe I believe we asked to incorporate testimony from the last presentation into this, into the overall record. I'm gonna go back over everything. So the board gets refreshed, but I don't think we should, I
It
don't.
wasn't too long ago. That would be at the board's pleasure. You guys heard a very lengthy presentation at the last meeting. You know,
We're
we
gonna
could certainly
go back through it. I just have
incorporate.
the purpose of the record, for the overall record, that's all. I'll go back through it.
Okay,
We're gonna go back through the points that we had brought up. at
yeah,
the previous
specifically,
meetings.
yeah,
You need a general
You just
general
covered-
background and then we'll talk.
yeah, because you've just covered a lot of
What I say doesn't matter.
it.
Andy, if you would, just give the board a general background of what we presented previously.
Certainly, I'll do my best. I'll probably just run through.
Bring the board over so board members can get an idea.
This is the same plan as we used last time, just a little larger size.
But this has been submitted to the board. and
It's been submitted to the board, it's been reviewed, yes. A site plan, asking for a site plan waiver, okay, I know that sounds weird, that's what we're asking for. So I really should show a survey of what's been done, if anything at all, because they have jumped a little bit ahead. They've repaved both sides of the existing asphalt, they cleaned up the vegetation that grew through the gravel, it was already there. I was a little bit suspicious, so I came out and the gravel does absolutely go all the way back to the fence line. Personally, I looked, it was,
Let me stop you right there for a minute. Are we good with Gary here now? Because George came back, so.
I'm gonna go through it now.
Yeah, Gary, you step down now. Yes.
We still have 7 members, right?
Yeah, you got some,
That's good.
if you recall, I think it's 6 ones.
And part of that, I know the last review letter we had from your engineer was some lighting, so there was existing lighting here. It was not substantial, it's been replaced, it is substantial now, I did visit the site in the dark. And it is bright. So,
Can we make sure that that lighting does not affect any neighbors or anybody traffic on down on Waters Pike?
well, let's, yeah, it does not shine into the White Horse Pike itself, they do shine both east and west. Not into the White Horse Pike itself, I did that one of the first questions when I heard the lighting was up. But it's important, and I'll come back to this a few times later on.
Oh, sorry.
This is not in a residential area. So that's perfect for the kind of use that I'll talk in layman's term first, and I'll get into the special reasons shortly. In layman's terms, it's not near any residential use or occupation other than the house that we already have on site, which they're gonna be somewhat aware of it because they already reside there. And as Mr. Valentin said, this shift is 7 to 5, which means people will come in at 7. They'll leave at 5. If there's a second shift, which there are times that's the case, they'll come in at 5 and then and so it dispersed out to job sites at 5 p.m. and then come back at 7 a.m. the next morning. So the only activity on the site occurs at 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. 35 maximum employees, 25 to 35. Depends on the market. Right now, things are fairly busy. They do mostly public jobs, which means they are going out to the job sites, called up from the delivery union to go. So this is all union labor.
That labor is union.
Correct. Correct. And literally the labor union.
Are they open weekends or just Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday is what we've been,
Because weekends are emergency calls.
Right.
And they can address emergency calls on weekends.
but realistically, let's just say every now and then on a weekend, yes. Otherwise, we would not be telling.
We all see the projects that go up on the up on 42 and 676 that go 24 hours. The restaurant that
Keeping the same hours.
Yes.
absolutely, yes.
So operationally, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. A maximum of 35 employees. We did talk to Western, this is how they work, not from the applicant who is the owner rather.
Lieutenant.
So they have 15 larger trucks that have tools have equipment on them. Maybe a Comcast style truck, a little bit larger, box trucks, carrying more materials. They go out to a job site, they might be there for a week, they might be there for a year. But they don't come back. For the
The
most,
equipment trucks, the utility trucks, the equipment trucks, they stay on the job site for the duration of the job.
right, not here.
Right.
There's a maximum of 20 other vehicles that carry smaller tools and people to the job site. So they'll come, bring their vehicles into the back here in the gravel area, behind the fenced area. And then transport to a job site at 5 or 7, and 5 PM or 7 AM to the job site, and then they're brought back, and then they leave.
It's a screening of those vehicles.
They're screened, there's absolutely fencing and gate the whole way around the site. We do have parking in the front that's paved. We feel like it's gonna be more effective if we just keep everything hidden from the White Horse Pike, unless the board feels differently about using this parking lot out here. We prefer this one. It's not, we don't have it designated in terms of parking spaces and sizes, because I'll just be real with you, it's a little bit random. Depending on what trucks are there, and who's coming in, who's coming out. There's more than enough room for the 20 trucks, for the most part, that will be accessing to and from the site, as well as the workers' cars. Now, these vans, we're talking about the larger vans, 20 vans, we're talking about carrying the people to and from the job site, carrying more than enough persons. So we're not talking about literally having 35 cars here every morning, probably less. People are gonna be riding together. Some of the people are gonna be staying near the job site, some are gonna be staying in their homes. It's a little bit flexible. It's not a noisy, it's not a very active site, especially being in a commercial zone. And best of all, it's not near any residential. So, get past the operation and go right into the, okay. Under 40:55D2, we're gonna do some of the special reasons. I'll start with A. To encourage municipal action to guiding purposes for development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote public health, safety, moral, and general welfare. This is for two particularly reasons this site is as well suited for this. One, because they have a tenant that wants to rent the space, they've had to clean the site up. Between tires and an oil spill, I don't know the details of it, except that they're in the last throes of a process, which is a long process, which Ryan, I know you are familiar with. And they're close to receiving the no further action letter, which is the gold mine that you want to get as part of this process. So it's improving the lands in terms of the environmental concern that's been lifted or remediated. Two, it's not residential, so we're not going to be disturbing residential, which for this kind of a site really could be an impact. Trucks starting up at 7 AM and so forth, we're nowhere near residential, fortunately, other than one lot that is going to have to suffer through that because there's not residential. That's right. Right. Pardon me, it's not residential. So it's even better that, the house is converted into. Okay. Give me. All right, moving on to item B under the same statute. Secure or safety from fire, flood, and other, and that's really speaking to the oil cleanup again that we are preparing to do or have in the process of doing. To provide adequate under C, to provide adequate air, light, air, and open space, not adding on to the site at all. And while we're saying not adding on to the site, one of the comments Ryan had was in regards to the pinelands. So from one commercial use to another commercial use, that's exempt from a pinelands application. Adding less than 1,000 square feet of impervious surface is exempt from a pinelands application. We are adding a trash enclosure to the site, which is way less than 1,000 square feet of impervious.
Now, comply with the ordinance requirements for such enclosure, fireproof.
Yes, and actually, the city already has a specific ordinance for the enclosure, which we have on the not site plan waiver request plan. And then lastly is the amount of landscaping, which we are proposing several pots, I guess we will boxes with light plants in them. We are allowed under Pine Lands to add 1,500 square feet of landscaping area, which we're way under, without triggering an application requirement to the Pine Lands. So in my opinion, I'm diverging a little bit into the Pine Lands issue that we are exempt from requirements of the Pine Lands in this particular case.
Where will the landscape planners?
They're along the front, facing the White Horse Pike.
Will be along the front, along the frontage?
Yes, that's correct. So I'm pointing to it now along the front of the building.
Two proposed.
Two proposed, everything's on the table, as far as discussion later on. But we are able to get up to 1,500 square feet without triggering something that we don't want to go through and the timing that we're trying to prepare things in. Moving on to item E, under the same statute, to promote the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations that will contribute to all being persons, neighbors, communities, and regions that, and preservation of the environment. Again, we are improving the environment by adding this because in order to buy this and move it forward in a tenant situation, we're going to clean the site up in terms of where this is going. Under item G, provide sufficient space and appropriate locations for a variety of agricultural, residential, recreational, commercial, and industrial uses and open space. So we believe this is a needed service. Provide to the larger community, not State River City, if they do serve projects much wider area, because they do have adequate access to transportation routes that make sense for them between the Garden State Parkway and the Expressway, as well as White Horse Pike itself, to get to some of the projects around. I know Ryan's familiar with the paving projects that go on all over the place, especially NJDOT projects, which is probably the majority of what they participate in. And then lastly, item I, to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. They've already spent a ton of money. I have two pictures here. This one looks like a dump. The building, it really does. And they've improved the building, the lights, siding, windows. They've repaved all the paving that's out in front. They've dressed up the access to and then the gravel surface in the rear, which needed dressing up. And they're renewing the fences, which were somewhat dilapidated.
Some fences have been replaced, what?
Yes, so this didn't exist, but
Hopefully that's enough special reasons.
What about the negative criteria?
Negative, okay, so
Without substantial negative public good of the job.
in my opinion, there is no substantial or measurable detriment to the zone plan or master plan in this area, because this is already a commercial area. This is a relatively quiet use compared to some of the things we've done here. I mean, cannabis is one of the permitted uses. It could be a much busier site based on the long list of things that are permitted to go on in this zone, which this doesn't have to include storage. The building, I'll reiterate what Mr. Valenson said, the building will not be meant to be an office. It's really going to be a storage room for some of the smaller items they use.
There's no outside equipment storage proposed.
There's no outside equipment storage other than the trucks themselves. There's literally no storage outside any materials other than trucks. All the material storage, which are small items, will be stored inside the existing building. So in my opinion, this does not provide or promote any negative impact to the community in any way, shape, or form.
What about any substantial detriment to the, Anchor City's own planners, otherwise?
No, it doesn't. I mean, this is just one particular use the zoning ordinance didn't anticipate, which is not an unusual situation, which is why we're here where we are. While it does provide for a use that's less intense than a lot of the ones that are permitted here. It's not an intense use.
And do you think the site is particularly suited?
Again, because of the transportation and the distance from residential, yes.
Testimony, or is there any questions we have to address them?
At this time, did the board have any questions before we hear from Ryan?
No, go ahead, let Ryan.
Let Ryan go. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, so the front half of the letter is very similar to the prior meeting of this application. Under general comments, I think the applicant outlined with why they're here, multiple primary uses and use that's not permitted. Site features and improvements, I did go through and sort of list out, the improvements that they show on the site plan. I think it's important to note that, while they requested a site plan waiver and provided a plan, that's pretty typical for what we've gotten over the years. For other sites where they request a waiver just because it doesn't meet the, 400 things that they have to meet to be a site plan. But they still provide enough information to, for you to be able to discern what they're doing and what the plan is. So we noted all that, screening and buffering, you mentioned that you replaced, some of the fence. It looked like there's some screening, like privacy screening on a portion of the fence. Could you outline for the board where that is? Like which ends, there's like.
So, so basically right across here, so this is where the trucks would be parked. So right across here, the front and the left of the building, that's all privacy screen. Same with the back of the slash cover, this right.
Plan.
Oh, on the plan,
Yeah.
sorry. So across here, the existing chain link, this is the one we had to repair. And this is all screened across, so there's no it's not visible from White Horse Pike. And same with across here, existing fence line, we had to replace a bunch of that, and again, same thing, it's not visible.
So the use would be effectively screened from the White Horse Pike. The one side's completely vegetated and there's no screening there, but the rest of the sides would be screened.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to take.
And the dumpster enclosure goes behind that fence, that screen fence.
That's
Correct,
correct,
yeah.
yes.
So that would be, yeah, on this corner here, right behind the screen fence.
Clearly it'll be privately owned, so.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting why you bring that up, as far as trash goes, we'll probably have to do it every 3 weeks or so because it's not generating, there's no office operating there. There's just nothing happening there other than transferring from personal cars to the trucks and out to the job sites. But still, we don't want to suggest that we don't need to comply with that part of the ordinance. So we are.
I didn't reference it directly in the letter, but you talked about adequacy of the parking area in the back. It's about 220 feet long. Typical parking space about 9 feet wide, so you have about 24 plus or minus spaces on either side of that gravel area. Does that sound about right?
Yes, it is. So again, in my opinion, it's more than adequate for the 20 or so cars that will be there left and the 20 or so, actually less than 20 cars and the 20 or so van, box, passenger, small tool vehicles that'll be leaving there in the morning. And for the most part, the larger trucks, which aren't that large, by the way, will be almost always left on site. On construction sites they serve, sorry.
So without the front parking area and the pavement out in front, you're plus or minus 46 or so vehicle parking spaces, just so the board has an understanding, since they, talking about 30 plus or minus vehicles.
Well, you do have the lots out front you could use if you needed, not for the, I
Right,
would think for personal vehicles, then
yes,
they can park there in the morning and walk around back.
It is available and we could, and if the board were interested in using that for the car, we could. Which is.
I mean, if this, I think some activity is worth showing on the sites of cars, that's an option to have them park up on Pike. Our thought was, keep everything back, behind the screen.
You paid a lot of money
With that,
for
Ryan?
with a parking lot.
You're good with the parking?
the size, yeah, I personally I had a pretty good handle on it based on the size, once they were talking about the number of cars, like I think that it's adequate here, they're not delineated, but again, you could fit 45, plus vehicles in the back there, so. If they're gonna store 30 and have people transfer in and out with other personal vehicles, I don't foresee that being an issue, and again, that's without using the front parking at all. I just wanted to, give the board a better feel for the amount of space back there versus the number of cars.
About 40,000 square feet.
Yeah, so it's almost an acre.
John, did you have that?
I was just saying, you spent a lot of money to pave it. I mean, no reason not to park on it. I wouldn't recommend an attenuator truck, but personal vehicles and things of that nature only makes sense. But
Yeah, it shows more activity as well, I believe, for the town. Should be a good thing.
Yeah.
Shows business.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that would, if we're gonna use it that way, I do think that would be a bonus to have some vehicles out there, just so it doesn't look vacant and empty.
Right. And again, any of the bigger work trucks would be they would be hit behind. Sure. That's it.
All right, so one of the variances that are requested is to have two principal uses on one site.
Mhm.
Andy, could you speak to how, if at all, the proposed business interferes or does not
Well,
with
it's not,
the
it's not a
conforming
proposed,
use?
it's not a proposed business. This has been here for years.
Well, no, not that one. I'm talking about how the new one, how the new
Is there any
business
overlap?
would impact.
Okay, so the access points are completely different.
Okay.
The access to the commercial space that's already there is off of,
Amber.
sorry, Hamburg. And we're gonna be coming off the White Horse Pike, which is an existing opening already on the site.
Okay.
And they shouldn't see each other at all.
And I think there was some confusion last time. The parking lot that's out front is not intended to be a parking lot for that building. Is that correct?
No, they have one or two cars at a time for this business in the back.
Correct. And there's a separate driveway in that
Yes.
next to it.
And that's not the type of business that necessarily has 7 a.m.
No,
arrival or 5 p.m. departure and anything like that.
correct.
Thank God. So operations, I think you guys went over, I think, we would need to have some kind of timing restrictions. Just so there weren't people coming and going at 1 a.m. potentially. If the board were gonna move forward with the approval, lighting and security, I think you've addressed. Outdoor storage, we talked about that, no outdoor storage and a proposed fireproof trash enclosure. The plan that's presented on the board there is not, I think the members, you guys have the full site plan that has the trash enclosure detail on it. Which appears to be a 5-foot type enclosure. And then the pylon's operability, I think Schaefer went through that. So I don't think there's any issues there. I don't think they'll have to go in to the commission to seek approval for the change of use or any of the proposed improvements to the site. So that's all I have in my review letter, unless somebody has any questions.
Questions for the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Sure, go ahead, Jack.
So I want to thank you guys for this trash enclosure. Okay,
Not a problem.
so, and I could give you the background or whatever, why this is such a sticking point with us. But trust me, at some point, you're doing yourselves a favor by doing this.
I've been here now to hear stories, so I'm aware.
So,
No argument.
when real estates change hands, this is our opportunity to improve a site that going forward will be adequate for another use to go in there, should you need another tenant. Now we're not back after the fact trying to get you guys to put a trash enclosure in. So I appreciate that because I know that this is not, cyclone fence or whatever. This is a substantial cost.
Surely,
And I realize that and I appreciate that. And I'm in favor of the project. I was in favor of it and I'm glad that we came back with a little more detail. And I know it's an existing site, so this satisfies me. But two things. It is kind of a residential area. And I know you guys are saying that because it sounds better for you that it's not residential, but it is because right across Hamburg Avenue, there's three houses. So it's not a residential area, but it's buffered enough that I don't see it being a problem. The other, and I'm not an expert, but I come down the pike at night and the wall pack lights facing west are too bright.
If we can shield those.
They need some kind of diffuser on them.
That should be a condition of the approval then. Yeah.
And will the no outdoor storage be a condition of the approval also? Okay, thank you, guys.
The only question I have about the hours, and don't want to see you guys shortchange yourself. I mean, it is a commercial building, right on Route 30. There's enough noise going down there every day of the week, whether you're starting your trucks or not. And you're setting some pretty tight timelines for the business you're in.
I was giving the information that I was given in terms of how the site works. I can't tell you that somebody's not gonna be late for work and come in at 8.
I mean, you can't control construction projects. If they want to start at 9 at night, that's what it is. If they want to end at 9 at night. So I don't want to see you shortchange yourself
Right,
on
but I think
that.
I agree with you.
important to understand this is an operating business, changing locations.
Oh, and I wasn't suggesting that.
I understand that, but
Be limited. I wasn't suggesting that be a limitation. I was just telling you that's how they tell me they have.
that's fine.
That's the general way it'll operate, yes.
But I think most of us agree that the commercial property, especially with the service you're providing, can be outside of that scope that you presented, and I'm fine with that because where it's at, like I said, Wawa has gasoline trucks coming in at 4 in the morning next to a residential area, so that's it. heck of a lot less impact than what we already have.
And just on the time as well, the majority of the later night stuff, that's emergency calls that they'll get from site that they need safe, traffic safety locally, so.
Nice, good company, good company, good company.
You did a beautiful job of the building compared to where it started at.
It's good.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a couple comments and questions. I'm looking on the application and I have access to, everybody does tax records. But I really believe, I think your block and lot isn't correct on your application. It keeps referring to block 526-1101. One of the tax records, I believe it is 5107, lot number 1.02. And it's also, so it's correct on this.
We hope, but there had been, there has been.
It was from the first application of what it was.
No, it's not just that. There's maybe some tax issues.
Okay, then.
It's not 100% clear. I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know, because I pulled them in tax records and he had made a comment, you've been trying to find a tenant for 2 years. Tax records, so that we just purchased in December 2024, so you only owned it for about a year and a half.
But they're saying a year and a half, he was saying coming up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're also your realtor, and you mentioned that you've been trying to market, like, I'm a realtor as well. I've never seen one sign on that property in a year and a half they've been trying to market it. I haven't seen our MLS, I haven't seen Bright, we're part of commercial sites. I don't know if you're aggressively, but we're looking to find another tenant, or is this the only tenant that has come to you?
Clark,
We have it listed up.
you and I discussed what you've done to get the property out there. Tell the board the effort you've taken, where the property is listed.
Yeah.
Websites, for the website,
So our management company, they primarily deal with commercial property. We're listed on LoopNet. I'm sure you're aware. LoopNet is the largest North American commercial real estate company, you know.
Right.
And then also in Showcase, it's on there. So it is, and it was paid promotion on that also. Signage, we didn't necessarily have signage out. We did have signage for while we were under construction, but you know, but we had it listed. We were paying for promotions at the time,
Right.
for a portion of that. You know, so and again with commercial, if someone a large company like that, if they're looking for a commercial space, they're not going to the MLS, they're not going to
Right.
Bright MLS, they're not going to Zillow, they're not going to find it there what they're looking for. They're going to LoopNet, they're going to Crexi, they're going to Showcase, they're going to those larger sites.
Westfield.
And they found us through LoopNet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you're looking for this approval, but it's not owner occupied. So we're relying on a tenant to upstand these rules. I mean, so my question is, we grant this approval and now these tenants move out within 1 year. What keeps us from not having other? Okay,
It's a use variance.
Right.
So the use is limited to what you guys approve.
right.
So if this tenant moves out, the likelihood is unless we get the tenant doing the exact same thing, then unless the permitted use goes there, we're gonna be back here.
Well, that's the question I have, is because we're permitting this type of a company coming here and parking trucks. He moves out. Now, like, okay, someone else wants to use it for parking tractor trailers. Is that considered the same use, or larger vehicles and their diesel fuels? I mean, do you see what I'm saying? If we're,
Yeah,
because,
so you place conditions in the approval
okay,
that limits it to this specific type of use. For something like a tractor trailer, you know, we haven't reviewed a site circulation plan that would accommodate a tractor trailer.
right.
For all intents and purposes, we're talking about regular size.
So that would be
vehicles.
specific in there, just,
Yeah, exactly. The ordinance or the approved resolution would need to be tight enough to describe this use as it is. And as Mr. Valentin said, if there was another use that, you know, the same type of company, a competitor of theirs wanted to move into this space, then fine, they could take it over under the same use. variance.
similar.
But if they deviated, you know, in any significant way from our approval resolution, then when they applied for CO or you know, came back in for a mercantile license, at that point, it'd be flagged to say, no, that use is not approved on this site. And they'd have to either come back here or find another use that can.
Just want to make sure that was.
Can I get clarity on that, Brian?
Sure.
Brian, I'm sorry.
I respond to that.
So that building's had probably 10 different businesses in the last 40 years.
Yes.
Those uses are still allowed, correct?
So
Past-
any
past
type of
practice?
permitted use can just come in, yeah, right, if the tenant left, any permitted use could come in and just get a zoning permit and we would sign off on it as a permitted use.
For
only-
instance,
Yeah.
used car dealerships.
Yeah, used car dealer, auto repair, any type of repair shop or retail facility.
Used to be a
Anything
fireplace
that's
store.
permitted in the highway commercials.
Right, it was a fireplace there
Remember.
Yeah,
40 years ago,
sure,
so,
they wanted to come back,
all right,
they could come back, yeah, they wouldn't have to come back to the board, they would just go back, They would submit a zoning application, the zoning officer, which is also me at the moment, would sign off that it does conform, it's a permitted use.
so as long as it follows this new use and any other past use that it's had.
Any other permitted use, yes.
Okay.
Because
Commercial.
so with this use variance, if there's other non-permitted uses that occupy the site, this action would formally abandon whatever that non-permitted use was. So if there was something they were doing there before that's not allowed in the current ordinance, they wouldn't be allowed to go back to it. So only permitted uses and what we're permitting right now.
If I can as well, George, just to address your concern. The lease that's proposed to the tenant is a 5-year lease with a 5-year add-on, so it's potentially on a 10-year scale. And again, anything that, you know, if you have restrictions on anything out here, we're gonna tie it into a lease that they're bound by as well, that we can evict them. Be it that they're breaking.
Mark,
the lease.
that time period, they asked for that.
Say again.
They asked for that.
Yeah, so we
They
negotiate.
asked for the 10 years.
Yes, right,
Thank you, Mark.
because they're gonna be doing work throughout the area.
Well, maybe you can buy some more commercial properties in town and fix them up and make them ready for use. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And being that we do have another structure on the property, it's massage parlor, so when we're approving this, because it's one block and lot. Gradually, they just can't make the parking lot larger and larger and larger. It's what we're approving tonight.
Yeah, so since we're granting a use variance for this use, any expansion of it would be an expansion of a non-conforming use, which would bring them right back here again.
Right, and I noticed in your comments, you had said they wouldn't need to apply for other approvals, but you mentioned the DOT Pinelands and Soil Conservation District.
Yeah.
But I think you said Pinelands, of the Pinelands we do.
Yeah, so we flag that as something, but they've addressed all of the triggers that could potentially lead them there, and then they don't hit it.
Okay.
But that, we usually have a sort of catch-all at the end, like any other approvals that might, DOT requires a highway access permit because they're redoing the driveway. Pinelands requires it because they're, 1,005 square feet of disturbance, or any of a number of reasons. So we usually have that in there just to say, look, we're us, but you gotta check everybody else. too.
Right, and then they just have to bring it back and.
Yeah, it's a
It
given upon them.
doesn't come in front of the board as long as it's approved by
Correct.
someone there. Okay. Those are the questions I had, but I do agree, you did a beautiful job rehabbing that building, and it is a nice site compared to what else we've before.
Any other questions from the board? I could now open it up to the public, if anybody would like to speak.
And like Galloway again, I just had one question. I can't see the plans, so.
Galloway has been, for the record, has been previously sworn.
So I'm concerned about the parking for the vehicles coming and going, the workers. It's going to be where on the plan? Where's the house? So it's everything is.
And the fence now.
They're gonna be parking on asphalt,
Any other, it's gravel area.
it's gravel, okay, so there's right.
No stripe.
But it is behind the fence.
It's behind the fence, next to that.
Anyone else would like to speak? All right, with that being said, I guess we're looking for a motion. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll offer a motion, Paul. I have one question on that. Are we gonna do anything with the hours of operation? So I know they said 7 to 5. And then Mr. Gar's comment was kind of just open it up, but I think we should limit it to maybe like 6 a.m. to 10 or 11 p.m., 11 p.m.
If I can address on that, so some of their timing, they get emergency calls. And again, it's, they're pulling a truck out to get to a site because they have an emergency where they have to get the safety cones, the traffic cones onto the Garden State Parkway or wherever it is there's construction workers there and they do have some of that, so.
I think we could probably phrase it to say primary operations between the hours of X and Y and limited operations between. Just so that there's some differentiation, so there's not all 20 vehicles pulled out at 4 in the morning.
Right.
That's fair.
Primary operations will be from what to what?
6 to 10, right?
6
6 to 10, 11, something.
So you're to 11.
Yeah, just understanding there are emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah, limited operations as needed between the hours of 11 PM and 6 AM.
Anything else from anybody? All right, we have a motion from Jack Peterson.
With conditions that I guess Damon will read.
Second on that?
Second.
Damon, you want to
Yep,
say
this
this?
is a motion for D2 variance with conditions. So the variances are for use that was not permitted, which was the truck storage use, as well as having two principal uses on one site to coexist with the existing massage parlor. The conditions that I've heard, and Ryan or anyone can feel free to add to these, would be that the hours of operation, primary hours of operation would be from 6 AM to 11 PM with limited operations for emergency purposes as necessary. That the use is limited to the stated use of truck storage. That there is no outdoor storage of materials or equipment, and that the lights facing west should be shielded.
The building is for equipment storage as well, inside.
Build inside. So yeah, the storage was limited to outdoor storage, but you're correct, Chris.
Outdoor storage, outdoor vehicles, inside equipment.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So noted. So with that, a motion and a second was made to approve the variances with those conditions.
All right, Donna, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Garth,
Yes.
Mrs. Torres,
Yes.
Mr. Molyneux,
Yes.
Mr. Frick,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Good luck.
Can I say something from last meeting? The gentleman from Florida who owned the Acton site came up.
Right.
Started complaining about this site. I think you said, what do you guys said? Wait a second. You own the site that has.
Yeah.
8 feet to throw.
First time he's ever come before.
And he says, yeah, but we're not here to talk about that. And you said, oh, now we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah, he opened the door.
I couldn't pay that. I couldn't pay that.
Oh, yeah.
People on the store.
All right, we have a resolution number 126, 2026. Ryan, do you want to explain this to the board?
Yes, so in August of last year, someone who came, I believe, to this meeting in my absence, I was on vacation, and presented a redevelopment plan for, what at the time was a singular block and lot, block 1001 lot 11, which is a former landfill site out in the industrial park. So what was omitted from that is that the landfill actually stretches onto the 9 other properties. So we had to amend the redevelopment plan to include those properties, which are block 609 lots 1 and 7, block 632 lots 1 and 16, and block 705 lots 1, 7.02, 8.02, 16, 27.02, and 28.02. Those lots included with lot 1.0 or block 1.01 lot 11 are where the landfill dents actually are. So the justification is exactly as provided in the original redevelopment plan. It's really just expanding the footprint. So I brought a copy of our initial master plan consistency review letter. All the same criteria apply. It's just a bigger footprint because the landfill isn't just on one lot, it's on multiple. So that's really all it was bringing it back to you guys for confirmation that the amendment to the redevelopment plan will be consistent with the master plan, similar to what we found in August of 2020.
And you're adding all these blocks and lots to that.
Yes. Yeah, there's a there's a report version with the map, but if you want to. So take the best on the list.
They covered city dump years ago?
Yes.
That's what it was? Okay.
Yeah, and Antwerp Avenue land.
Okay.
Other section.
Because it just seemed like the block and lots were so far apart, but I guess it's one end versus the other.
Well, the way that the block system works in Egg Harbor City is it starts at one, it goes down all the way to the river, and then it snakes and comes back. It just keeps. So yeah, there's no like logical order. It doesn't. So yeah, I thought the same thing. Every time I go through the tax map, I have no clue like what the adjacent block number might be. You know, if you're going in a line, it's okay. It's up one up or down, but other left and right, no chance. So yeah, but that's that's what this is. It's
So we're just amending that resolution to include the traditional lots.
correct with the same justification that was provided in full in 2020.
Which is what we did.
Right, so you want a motion on this, and is that how we're gonna do this?
Yeah, we would need a motion that the amended redevelopment plan is still consistent with the master plan. So.
Okay. Mike McKenna makes the motion, any second?
Second.
And then roll call
Okay, Mr. Garth,
Yes.
Mrs. Torres. Yes. Mr. Molyneux,
Yes.
Mr. Frick,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give you these two copies for that.
All right, number 8 is a council report. I guess we don't have one of them tonight. Number 9, public comments. Would anybody like to make a comment from the public? Questions and comments from the board?
I have a comment.
Sure.
The gentleman was just there, was mentioning a few months back when the gentleman that owns the Acme.
Yeah.
Came in and we all, rightfully so. But anyway, he had submitted the following, I think, month an application to get approvals. He was the owner for the Acme, which I believe he denied. And again, being that I'm a realtor, you know, he's got that property on the market for sale, plus the property across the street, 34 Whitehurst Pike. And in his MLS listing, he advertised approved for cannabis. He's marketing it for buyers saying it's approved, and then he's coming back to us.
Across the street is approved.
Well,
Across the pike is approved. right?
no, he owns two properties
Yeah.
that neither of which have cannabis approved.
Neither one of them.
But he's marketing, you know.
He's marketing them before he even came to us. He's been marketing them for a long period of time. It's cannabis approved, the Acme and the other thing. So all the buyers are looking at it or want to buy it or want to rent it from him. And now he's coming from us after the fact. And we just denied it. And it's still in the MLS. It's cannabis approved. So I'll send that around.
But they can be used for cannabis as long as they come to the board.
Well, if they're not approved,
But they're
he's
not
saying it's
approved.
approved.
Well, George, you
not-
know,
it's not-
it's interesting, not to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but that wording that was added to our application here,
Mhm.
what did not exist when it came from the city. Didn't say anything about, they threw that in at the end, the cannabis, just to see if they could get it to stick.
No,
But the document that was voted on
Yeah.
by city council,
Right.
didn't have anything, mention anything about cannabis.
Right.
That was thrown in by the applicant at the last minute.
Right, but I'm saying he's been marketing to the public that it's approved for cannabis, which neither one of those properties are.
Right.
And I think that's creating a problem.
What would be permitted on either of those two sites would be a retail cannabis facility. However, there's only one license available in the HC zone and it's already occupied.
It's unfortunately, it's a play on words.
So it's a white lie.
It is approved
Right.
in our zoning
Technically,
ordinance,
you could.
but you have to go
retail
through all the
cannabis here,
steps. I mean,
But you just need a license that you can't
they're
get.
they're trying to buy a piece of 5-acre property, Galloway. Everybody advertises it's approved by Pinelands. It's approved because it meets the minimum standard, but they didn't get the
Right.
final.
Let's just play with words.
whatever you
Either
like.
it is or it isn't.
And I'm sure you're gonna say.
I deal with this every single day. But yeah, either it is or it isn't. So I feel as though that's such misrepresentation because he's wasting all our time up here saying that it is approved.
Sure.
And then he's coming up and now he's pleading for an approval. I mean, I can send it to you if you want.
It's up to the buyer's due diligence to find that out. And
Oh, sure, but you're wasting a lot of other people's time.
Well,
Yeah.
When you
George,
disclose that it's not permitted use right now.
the other thing is, and the bigger monster in the room is, the building has never been completed. Okay, the eaves are not tied in. I'm sure that there's water infiltrating in there along that mansion roof on one side there. They started to put, the guy that originally had the project, Persia or whatever, I mean, he spent a lot of time and money, put up stonework, whatever,
Beautiful
but you go
stuff.
around the other side, they slopped a coat of paint on it.
I know, it's such a
You know, so now, when this project comes before us again, how do we address that?
I know.
So we put a stipulation on that, the building had to be complete, or anything could run out.
Okay, so is painting the building in lieu of putting the stonework up, is that completing the project, and are we
The
going to be
interior
satisfied?
also, right, that was a
But-
part of
yeah,
it.
they're gonna pay.
They're nowhere near being able to operate.
No.
Problem is they all operate out of it.
Well,
they're not required to put stone face,
They use it as
they're just required to make
as
it
a lot that they're gonna.
finished product.
well, so the prior approval for the used auto dealer mall, he provided architectural elevations. So that's part of the approval. So if he doesn't provide what was shown on the architectural elevation, then he can't use that use. If he wants to come in and come in with another permitted use in the zone, then just like anybody else, you come in, you get building permits, you fix it up, you know, and you reoccupy, but I mean, that site's beyond just reoccupying. So.
So, Mr. Chair, to add insult to injury with that Acme site, and another capacity, I represent the city of Vineland, in their cannabis affairs. And there was a company seeking to do business, in Vineland from Lower Cape May, Sealy. So I'm speaking with their general counsel, and he says, well, we're working on a project now. We're gonna open up a dispensary in Egg Harbor City, and we're looking to do manufacturing there. I said, well, that's very interesting. I said, because I happen to also work with the Egg Harbor City Planning Board, Land Use Board, and I know for a fact that, you know, the person that you're talking to, you know, has, you know, made these representations, but it just isn't available. And so he just got a whole host of new information that he had to take back to his company, because if you listen to this guy, he really thought that they were going to be opening up like within the next, you know, within this year. And he came away with a different opinion. I said, you know, you can do it, you know, I said, but you're going to be in front of that board and you're going to have to do put a whole lot of money there. But I don't think that there's a license available for you to accommodate, you know, what you're trying to do. So that just goes to Mr. Frick's point that, yeah, the words matter, and he put it out there as it's approved, and that there were reputable people that were seeking to, you know,
Used car salesman.
pretty much.
All right, anything else from the board?
I do, I have one thing. The original cannabis growth facility that we approved on Lawson Mill Road, that they cleared like with shovels and picks. Silt fence is still up. Supposedly they moved on and they bought a facility somewhere else.
Correct.
What if we get stuck with that half cleared lot?
So the guy is actively marketing it. I've had some discussions with code enforcement that you can't just leave it like that. You have to do something with it. So the city's actually working with the ACIA to do like profiles on some commercial properties. We did some recently for some other properties. But I think we identified that one to be one that we're trying to advertise pretty heavily to say, look, this is a fully approved facility. You can just come in tomorrow and start building them.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to drop the hammer on the code enforcement side. We can't just leave it clear for it.
Yeah.
That's the reality. So yeah, we're trying to
So
help without, you know.
in that case, there's an approved site, then it just needs to be built.
Correct.
Yeah, they started clearing it and I guess in the
And then just
meantime
stuff.
found a different property and moved on.
I don't know that you could economically build the building as they designed it.
No, that was.
Yeah, it's a little on the expensive side.
Yeah, a little overkill.
Is there escrow on that?
That's a good question. I think there is still an escrow. It's just kind of lingering. But yeah, they would have to post bonding and escrow. So.
Maybe use that to have someone else finish it.
Well, so the bonding laws changed, and the site improvements are no longer bonded, with the exception of a few things like storm management. But I mean, we can reach back out to the owner and just try to get him to start cleaning up and like start building some of the storm management basins, so even if the improvements aren't there. They have some retention and infiltration, so it's not just stormwater rolling off on the neighbor's property. Cause you go from that, fully wooded site to a cleared site, you've obviously changed the characteristics of the property.
So Ryan, then the way I'm understanding it, even though he has walked away from the project, he's still responsible to meet the site plan, being that he's cleared it?
He's not responsible to fully construct the site plan, but he's responsible to stabilize it and get it to a condition where it's not sending more stormwater off than it was prior to the development initiative. So
That's probably no leverage there.
well, yeah, so Cape Atlantic is another actor who has a concern there. I don't remember if they sent him violation notices or not. I've seen him for a couple of properties. I can't remember if he's one. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, something needs to advance there. We can't just sit there with it cleared and nothing happened. So, yeah, it's definitely on our radar.
Okay, thank you.
Was there another property we approved? Was it Marty at the industrial park? Another.
Marty Wilson Boulevard,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
the
that moving
one on the
forward?
cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
Is he still inching along, Don?
I saw something started. Okay, so there's.
Clear from lane, that's.
Yeah, he cleared, I think, was starting to build the storm management basin out front. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has also some permits,
Mhm.
all for a couple inspections so far.
Okay.
Maybe he wants to build a big greenhouse over on Moss Grove.
I think that's a little out of his price range. It was literally just some guy like, working a 9 to 5, this was like his dream. I think when we approved, he started crying.
Yeah.
He did.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice kid, but,
Does this need 2% off an industrial park or just on the retail?
so 2% on the gross sales for, retail, manufacturing,
Okay,
cultivation, delivery,
Okay.
yeah, all classes.
So
I
we
think it's
wanna-
2% for all, isn't it?
Wholesale.
Yeah, right, wholesaler.
well, we want to get as many of them as we can in town, right?
Well, I mean, when this all came up, I mean, I frankly came to, some members of city council and said, listen, can you name me more than 3 businesses in the industrial park? If not, who cares what the next 3 are, right? Like, you're gonna get a ton of tax revenue from it, and it's a business and industrial park, just like all the others, so.
Manufacturing, I mean, cultivation kicks off the smell. But in my experience in working on both sides of this fence, manufacturing is where you want to be because. People, when they hear manufacturing in the cannabis industry, they automatically think of just joints, for lack of a better term, but there's edibles, there's bakeries, there's bottling, like for drinks. The New Jersey has not even scratched the surface on the level of manufacturing that cannabis could accomplish, and it's not just being manufactured for this community, it's being manufactured for throughout the entire state. So, it's definitely something that I always encourage municipalities to explore.
Well, that's the old True Value, the Ace Hardware on the corner of in Absecon. That just opened. There's a small retail, but most of it is manufacturing.
That building that they're manufacturing in?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, a small portion of it is retail, but the vast majority of it is manufacturing.
Anything else?
I just wanted to make one other comment, because I'm assuming we all got our tax bills probably this week. And I was finally impressed, and I think it went up 0.7 of a cent, the tax rate went up, that's amazing. That hasn't increased. So that's a good thing to council and to everybody. Yeah.
Good thing nothing else will go.
New Jersey American Water Bill.
Make a motion to
About
fill.
that.
Second.
How we go?
Aye. Everybody, all the.
I'll stop you.
You got all the radio gear in that.
Radio gear in it, all the.
Can I do the resolution?
I'll work with you, I got it. But I see him.
Oh, what, for what?
So,
Oh, the notice of decision?
I had to stop this.
Something other things that I feel bad, that, you know, for such a positive guy.
Yeah.
For the wrong thing.
Takes really good care of
Huh?
his mom and
The wrong thing.
Yeah, it's.
brother and all that.
That's right, so they can.
Have a good one.
Very good.
Yeah, but- but it's-